Hey everyone, it's Earrings by Angela. Angela here. Today in this video, I want to talk about the different jewelry wires and their gauges. So I have a few samples here, and then I'll show you what they look like and some of the work that I use the different gauges in to create my jewelry. Okay, so let's start with the highest wire first. The highest one is this the highest one that I have here. Okay. We're going to start out with 16 gauge. So 16 gauge, you can tell it's like the thicker wire, right? And this wire it's easy to bend, but then it gives a little bit of resistance. So it is the wire that is actually going to obey what you tell it to do. Okay, so it's like, I came here to work. I'm going to do what you tell me to do. I'm not going to go ahead and do what the hell I want to do. Maybe I should say heck, because I think I have some younger students that might be coming to my channel. So never mind what the heck it wants to do, right? Okay, so that's a 16 gauge. And sometimes it's packaged like this. Sometimes it's on a roll, whatnot. Hey, we on a roll. What? Say it again. So we're leaving 16 and we're going to go over to the 20. So this is the 20 gauge. I'm going to take it out. I just keep it in so that I don't lose it. But here's the difference. It's a little more bendable. And then, so if we compare the two, okay, let's see. If we compare the two, you can see that the 16 gauge is a lot thicker. Let's move this camera down a little bit. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So you can see that this is the 16 gauge and it's way thicker than the 20 gauge, right? Booyah. Now let's line that up with the 24 gauge. Okay. So this 24 gauge wire is a little bit thinner. Let's put the 16 gauge down. Thank you, 16. Is a little bit thinner than the 20. Okay, I had to see if we could focus there. It's a little bit thinner. Thinner than the 20. And I admit that sometimes if it's not on the roll and I'm just looking for, because I always say, keep your scraps, right? If I'm looking for it, if I have my scrap bag, that's what I call it, my wire scrap bag, then it's hard for me to tell, and I just, so let's say if I have this is a 22 gauge, and then I have, let's see here, just a second, you guys. Okay. And then I have this 22, I'm like, wait, and I'll line it up, and I'll realize, okay, this one's a 20, this is a 22, cool, I'm good to go. Okay, so that is 16, 20, and 22. We're going to move to 24. Now, this is a 24 gauge, okay? 24 gauge wire. And look at how bendy that is. So this one is the one that's going to have an attitude. And it's going to say, well, I know what you want me to do, but I kind of want to go my own way. And that's why you always see me warming the wire with my fingers instead of that tool. I warm my wire with my hand because I want the natural heat from my hand and my energy to go into the projects. So we have the 26. Now the 26 is very thin, right? Look at that. But this one is the one what I like to call sew with, meaning that I do a lot of weaving projects. So I'm going to actually show you those projects that I use. Okay, so remember, we just did the 16, right? This is the thicker one. We did the 20, which is next. And wait. 24, 22, and 26. So here's what that looks like if you do a project. Let's start with the 16 gauge. So this is a ring that I created. I love it. I love it. I know I gotta let it go at some point. Am I the only one who falls in love with their work? Okay, so this is the 26 gauge. And see how I was able to form that, and it's kind of hard, right? So that's what that would look like. It's kind of hard. But then I also look at this one. Now see here we have the 16 gauge, but right here is our friend 20, because I used the 20 gauge to help secure the stone in the frame that I created for this ring with the 16 gauge wire, because I said, 16, I need you on this job. I need you to help me hold the stone, right? So that's how they work together. I use the stronger, and then the 20 is the accent. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This is also a 16 gauge ring, okay? And I used the 22 gauge to secure, let me come up closer. All right. I used a 22 gauge to secure that stone into this ring. See how I wrap that? Yep, that's the whole thing, you guys. I'm going to teach you some of these techniques in the future. Okay, that was a weird laugh. I don't know where it came from. Okay, that's an even worse laugh. Let me stop. So this one, and this is an angelite crystal, you guys. I love angelite because it helps you to connect to your guardian angel, and it's like a spirit guide. But we're not talking about stones right now. So you can see that this is a thicker wire, right? And yep, so it's gonna look not as dainty, but it still looks great, right? But here we have the 22 gauge, same wrapping technique, but different. Look at that. You could tell the thickness, but this one looks a tad bit daintier, correct? Am I correct in saying that, you guys? Right? Okay, so let's put that on the finger. So that's a little bit daintier. So you can tell that this one is going to give more attitude. This one is like, girl, calm down a little bit. Just calm down a little bit. You can be cute, but you ain't got to be all flashy. Okay? And then we have our little petite ring that I made. And before I finish with the rings, these are the simple wire wrapped rings. And if you want to learn how to make these, you can watch that video, okay? And I'll put it in the description. So this one is made out of the 24 gauge wire, okay? Let's see, can we really get in on that, or the camera gonna be funny, which is not funny for me. Let's come closer. There we go. Boo thing, thank you. Now you can see I don't do my nails either, but I'm not one of those people that keep their nails done because I cut people. But anyway, so here is the 24 gauge, and you see how that's different? It's very thin, right? So remember, this one is 22, this one is 20, this one is 22, and this one is the 24 gauge, okay? So that's a difference. And look how, now, this is not my real finger that it goes on, but see how dainty and petite that actually is, okay? So then, now I'm going to show you, oh, and I have to pay tribute, you guys. I'm going to show you the ring that one of my students made for me years ago. And I chose to show this in her honor because she is no longer with us, you guys. So, Bessie, this is for you. Love you. Thank you so much for this. And I keep it as a memory of you because I loved you. She passed away from cancer, you guys. So, I love her. Okay, let me stop talking about her before I cry, because I get really attached to my students. So this ring she made as a gift for me, and she used the 20 gauge, okay? to make all of that. Isn't this really creative, you guys? I really want you guys to see this. Oh, snap. So this is what she made. But how you see how she wrapped the bead in there? This gauge that she used, this is that 26 gauge. Okay? This is the 26 gauge. So what we use a 26 gauge for is, like I said, for wrapping, adding that texture to your projects, right? Giving it more dimension, okay? So, you see, once you learn how to create, then your imagination can go anywhere, because I did tell my students today, not today, I'm sorry. I told them in that class, I said, okay, it was a wire wrap ring class. I said, now that you have the fundamentals, I challenge you to create any ring you want. Let your imagination flow. And I believe that she used this as a scribble design. Oh, I got to put it on, because don't you want to see what it looks like? Thank you, Betsy. Okay, love her, love her. So I'm going to take it off now, because I'm like, oh, I feel so connected. I feel so connected. I love, love, love. So this is the last one. So this is one, remember I said I use a 26 gauge for weaving because it's so thin and it adds texture. So look at that texture. It's a heart ring, clearly, and it's adjustable, right? Da-da-da-da-da. Put it on there, or I can open it a little bit and put it on there. I love that. I love that. Let's see if I can get closer. Sometimes my camera doesn't want me to, but you know what? It's not about the camera. Okay, so those are some of the ways and some of the reasons that we use different gauges. And before you ask, no, I will not be teaching this on camera. You'll have to take one of my other courses. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that was very helpful. You guys, if you feel like this video was helpful or you have any questions, just put it in the comment section or say, hey, Angela, how you doing? Make sure that you like this video if it helped you in any way. Subscribe and become part of the family. We would love to have you join in our conversation and creation. And let me know what's the last thing you made with your jewelry wire. Okay? So peace and blessings to you all. Thank you.